This school year, the tests are coming.
Oh no, I have a test tomorrow.
Do you look like the student you see before you? How do you think she will do on her big exam tomorrow?
I just don't know what to do. I hope it's enough. I've been studying for 3 hours. I've read all the notes. I've read everything on Google Classroom. I've read the whole book. I just hope I crammed enough in 3 hours.
What if I told you there was a better way to study that didn't involve cramming and studying for hours the night before an exam? Would you be interested?
Huh? Yes, please.
What if I told you that in just 5 minutes a day, that's right, folks, 5 minutes a day, 5 times coming back to your notes, that you can remember way more than that schmo over there who's cramming for 3 hours. That's right, folks. Let me show you today the special deal only 5 minutes, 5 times. That's right. You're going to remember way more from your notes than you've ever remembered before. The deal today, just for you guys.
So here are the 5 steps to focus note-taking. Taking notes, processing notes, connecting thinking, summarizing, reflecting on learning, and applying learning. When we come back to our notes 5 times and do these 5 steps, you're going to remember a whole lot more. Phase 1, taking notes. You need to establish a purpose and objective for note-taking. Write an essential question to guide your note-taking. Select the best format for your notes. We're going to look at some of those next. Write your notes based on the sources, whether that's your teacher, a video, or a book. Here are some examples. We have the very famous Cornell notes with the skinny column on the left and the larger column on the right. The skinny column is for your study questions in the connecting thinking phase. You also have a summary section and essential question built into the Cornell notes format. 2 and 3 column notes are for more evenly spaced columns. For example, you can see term, definition, and examples. This is just another way you could take notes, along with graphic organizers, mind maps, and interactive notebooks. Phase 2. So the second time you come back to your notes, you want to process your notes. It involves thinking about the notes, and it should be done within 24 hours of taking the notes. This is part of that revisiting and making sure that you remember more. It will also provide opportunities for collaboration. You can compare and contrast the way you process your notes versus your neighbor. And it will get messy. It's okay. It's meant for you to understand, not anyone else. As long as your notes make sense to you, that's what matters. It also focuses on clarifying content and organization. Ways you can revise notes include any of the ones you see above on the slide. Notice at the end, the main ideas, less important ideas, and details are different types of a bulleted list you could use to classify and sort information. Chunking means to sort your notes into sections. If you have a really large set of notes and you want to chunk it into different categories or topics. Phase 3. The third time we come back to our notes, connecting thinking. We want to think beyond the notes. We want to ask questions about the notes. We want to wonder. We want to think. We don't want to just say, what is photosynthesis? We want to say something more like compare and contrast, or find the difference, or how would this math problem be different if I had a negative number? Add original thinking. Make connections to what you already know. Think about those text-to-text, text-to-self, and text-to-world connections that you've learned about in an English class before. What did you already know, and what can you connect to the information in your notes? So when you do this, you're returning to the notes with an eye for inquiry. Learning makes sense when it is connected to what we already know, what we've experienced, or how we can use it. Learners should ask questions they really want to find the answers to and truly want to discuss. These study questions are also questions that you should use to quiz yourself when it comes time with phase 5, to study and implement what you think you've learned. Phase 4. This is sometimes what feels like the hardest phase, summarizing and reflecting on learning. We want to think about the notes as a whole and summarize. What have I learned? Capture the most important aspects of your notes and answer the essential question. For example, I learned blank. And you want to summarize everything in those notes because you want to be able to come back and reread that paragraph and be like, yeah, I remember everything in these notes. Or if you're like, I'm not quite sure I remember all these details, then you know to go back and revisit the notes again. Reflecting on your learning. How will this be useful? Consider how the learning helps you meet the note-taking objective and plan where you go from here. Phase 5, applying learning. Use the notes for their intended purpose. Demonstrate what you've learned or apply it in a new situation. So phase 5, the 5th time using your notes, use them. Are you going to use them to study? Are you using them to do a project? Are you using them for research or an essay? So this is the 5th and final time that you've come back to your notes. If you come back 5 different times for about maybe close to 5 minutes each, you're going to remember a lot more than that girl who was cramming for 3 hours the night before a test.